Yes. The two guards didn't dare tarry, leading the way towards the faraway lake. How did you two find the ruins? While flying with the two guards, the fox-like youth asked curiously. Ruins. Ancient god ruins. 1,000,000,000 years ago, the pinnacle group of Undyings of Blood River continent, all the great beings joined hands to defend against the invasion of the outer space races. That battle was a river of blood, hundreds of billions of km were turned into ruins. It even caused the ruins to be filled with endless killing intent. One could see how intense that battle was. Every Undying could create their own god country, of course they would have many treasures. After that battle, the Undying Shrine once went through a period of crazily searching for ruins, sweeping through the entire ancient god ruins and collecting large amounts of treasures. However, even though the Undying Shrine sent out a few Undying specifically to search for treasures, the ancient god ruins were after all too huge. Secondly, the ground was too deep. Blood River continent's diameter was around 9 trillion kilometers, and its depth was close to 100 billion kilometers. Such a deep layer of soil to search through it all. Even if a group of Undying searched, they would still miss something. However, in these trillion years, there were very few new ruins that appeared. After all, 99% of the ruins had been discovered, leaving only a few that were hard to find. The three of them dived into the lake, diving deeper. This vast lake was tens of thousands of km deep, very deep. Lord, discovering the ruins was our luck. Yes, it was luck. The fox-like youth dived deeper and communicated, speak in detail. We were at the bottom of the lake preparing to kill some water beasts and barbecue some meat to eat. However, who would have thought that when we were at the bottom of the lake, we suddenly felt the ground beneath the lake shake violently, causing a valley to split open. There were even some ancient decaying weapons that appeared. We didn't dare hesitate and immediately came to report. The moment we discovered it, we immediately came to inform Lord. The two of them hurriedly said. The fox-like youth revealed a smile as he heard this. He was a world lord specially nurtured by the Undying Shrine. Of course he was much more knowledgeable. The moment he heard this, he understood. It should be an Undying or a world lord who created a world storage device that broke, causing the world to be exposed, causing the bottom of the lake to split open. The fox-like young man silently mused. As long as one reached the world overlord level, they would be able to use world energy to create a world, or even a world within a world. A world could be shrunk into a villa. It could even shrink into a specially made grain of sand. How small it could shrink depended on the precious materials used. Some precious materials might be the size of a sesame seed, but they could store an entire world in it. And the materials used to create a space ring may be cheap, but cutting space is extremely difficult and troublesome. Hence, many wealthy sector lords and even Undying beings would rather spend money to obtain precious materials and store a world as their own storage space. After all, a world could be stored in a grain of sand and carried around. But divine kingdoms, however, were different. They were much larger and more troublesome. It should be Undying. World lords all have inner worlds. He could directly place items in his inner world. Only Undying. Undying no longer had an inner world, only a god country. And when items are stored in a god country, taking them out and storing them is extremely troublesome. Hence, carrying a world has enough space and can store items, it's very convenient. The fox-like youth thought to himself, however, even if the materials used to store that world are very precious, they can't possibly last forever. After hundreds of millions of years, they finally rotted away and that world directly appeared. The land that it occupied was split apart, which was how these two fellows discovered it. Ah, my luck is quite good. The fox-like young man excitedly went to the bottom of the lake. In the dark depths, the fox-like young man unleashed his world energy. Indeed. It really is a world. The fox-like young man used his world energy to extend into the depths of the lake. After investigating, he was extremely excited. So, the fox-like young man immediately drilled into the soil and began his journey to collect the treasures. Half a day later, within the palace of the Lake Heart Island, the fox-like young man stood in front of the railings, gazing into the distance. He was extremely pleased. I didn't expect that I, Ku Yen, would be able to obtain the treasures of the ruins. Now that I've investigated, it should be the personal world of an Undying. Even though the treasures inside aren't as much as I expected, it's still close to 1,000 times more than my wealth. The legendary discovery of a relic was so delightful. He was a world lord and had many treasures. But now his wealth had increased by 1,000 times. However, the other weapons and materials I can deal with them. But this jade gold statue is really useless to me. The fox-like youth flipped his hand and a 30-centimeter tall statue appeared in his hand. The statue was made of a translucent golden material. Looking at the statue, one could faintly feel a heart-palpitating aura. The statue was of a beast. It looked like a huge lizard with a long tail, thick claws and a horn on its forehead. A ferocious aura emanated from the mysterious statue. Jade gold statue, this should be the legendary beast god statue, right? I heard there are a total of 18 of them. The fox-like young man shook his head. However, this statue is only a memento, it has no other use. Beast god statue. The Undying Shrine worshipped the same object. There were a total of 18 statues. However, during that terrifying battle back then, a large half of the statues were lost, and even now there were still 3 that hadn't been found. Even though it's useless to me, if I offer it to the Undying Shrine, it'll be a huge contribution, and I'll be able to get many rewards. The fox-like young man smiled, after which he used his communication device to send a message to the Undying Shrine. The message was simple. It was him, Ku Yen, who had obtained this statue by chance, and wanted to offer it to the Undying Shrine. The message traveled at light speed and reached the Undying Shrine in about a day and a half. Within the Undying Shrine, even though the statue was just a worshipping object and didn't have much use, its meaning was extraordinary. Hence the Undying Shrine immediately ordered the closest envoy team to bring the statue, and told the World Lord Ku Yen to come to the Undying Shrine to receive his reward. Yuka led a team of envoys, sitting in the dark purple universe ship, arriving in the air above the island. Ku Yen. The white-robed Yuka descended from above, behind him followed two envoys. Haha Yuka. The fox-like young man laughed as he flew out from the island, greeting him. What a coincidence. I was ordered by the god to deliver the Blood River medal to Lord Bachi. The white-robed Yuka said, right now there are only two envoys in the ancient god ruins, and I'm not too far from here, hence I was ordered to come here and receive the statue. Lord Bachi? The fox-like young man was surprised. Go to Lord Bachi, I heard he's been training in the killing energy for a long time, and has already absorbed his 8th crystal. Yes. The white-robed Yuka nodded. Let's go, I'll follow you this time and also go see Lord Bachi. I've long heard of Lord Bachi's name, but I've never had the chance to meet him. The fox-like young man said. Compared to Bachi, be it age or status, he was much weaker. Firstly, the fox-like young man was only Sector Lord level 3. And Bachi, a very very long time ago, was already at the pinnacle of Sector Lord. And he was the top genius in a trillion years. And as long as he was willing, he could break through to Undying in a short time. In terms of status, Bachi wasn't any lower than an Undying, otherwise he wouldn't have 2 Sector Lords in his guard team, and even a powerful wild beast Chinyo as a brother. Let's go. The white-robed Yuka nodded. Immediately, the few of them flew into the dark purple ship in the sky, and with shocking speed, they headed towards the huge pit. Time passed. Luo Feng waited quietly within the huge pit quarters. Blood God Bachi told me that day 6 to 10 days. According to Earth's time, it should be at most 2 months. However now 2 months have passed. Luo Feng, who was dressed in the Blood God Guard's uniform, a bronze battle uniform, sat cross-legged on the stone bed. He was feeling a bit anxious. There wasn't much of an effect for him here. And if he returned, there would still be many opportunities. Compared to the vast universe, Blood River continent was ultimately too small. Rumble. The air trembled and a wave of energy was transmitted to Luo Feng. 97. A powerful voice resounded within the huge pit quarters, causing Luo Feng to get off the stone bed and say respectfully, Lord. The residence of the giant pit was tens of thousands of kilometers away from the palace at the bottom of the pit. The World Lord's world energy couldn't spread that far, so he could only deliberately transmit the world energy in one direction. Under the control of Blood God Baki, the world energy caused the air to vibrate. Come to me. The powerful voice said. Yes. Luo Feng said respectfully. He was delighted within, looks like it was time to get the Blood River medal. Luo Feng immediately became a green beam of light and flew along the tunnel, after which he rushed down into the endless abyss, reaching the bottom in an instant. 5th level of the palace. Luo Feng arrived at the 5th level. With a glance, he saw the blood-red-robed Bachi on the throne, and beside him was the tall wild beast Chinyo. Greetings Lord Chinyo. Luo Feng knelt on one knee. Rise. Bachi smiled. Wait a while, the special envoy from the Blood God Palace will arrive. He brought the Blood River medal and, your luck this time is very good. Very good luck? Luo Feng's face revealed a look of curiosity. Bachi smiled. Haha, because this time the special envoy came, he brought another world lord Ku Yen. That Ku Yen got lucky and acquired an ancient treasure from the Undying Shrine, the Beast God statue. The Beast God, carved on the Beast God statue, is a legendary existence. If they come, I'll let you see the Beast God statue. Ah, Beast God statue? Luo Feng was suspicious within, however on the surface he said loudly, Thank you Lord. When Luo Feng went to pay his respects to the Blood God Baki, a dark purple disc-shaped universe ship stopped in mid-air above the huge pit. Wah! The cabin door opened. The leader white-robed Yuka and the fox-like youth Ku Yen flew out of the cabin door, behind them followed 8 other envoys. This is the place Lord Baki trains in? The fox-like youth's eyes gleamed, gazing at the huge pit below. The aura here is so thick, looks like there's an aura whirlpool at the bottom too. Yuka nodded indifferently, simultaneously keeping the universe ship beside him. Follow me down. Yuka ordered. Yes. The group of envoys said respectfully. Hehe, we're about to meet the legendary Lord Baki. The fox-like youth however was filled with anticipation and excitement. So, silhouettes immediately rushed down, swiftly entering the deep pit filled with aura. At the bottom of the huge pit, the palace stood. 10 silhouettes swiftly descended and landed at the entrance. The leader was the white-robed Yuka and the fox-like youth Ku Yen. Lord Baki, I'm here on the god's orders to deliver the Blood River medal. The white-robed Yuka bowed and said loudly. Enter. A thick and loud voice resounded in the ears of the 10. Simultaneously a Blood God Guard appeared at the entrance and personally led them in. Envoys please. Under the lead of the Blood God Guard, the 10 quickly arrived at the 5th level of the palace. Palace 5th level. A blood-red-robed Baki sat high in his throne, gazing below. Below the hall, on the left was a tall and fierce wild beast Chinyo. Beside it stood 3 Blood God Guards. Captain number 1, Vice Captain number 2, and the Blood God Guard 97 who was about to be awarded a Blood River medal. Yuka, Kuyen and the others arrived. Greetings Lord Baki. The white rogue Yuka bowed, beside him the fox-like youth also bowed. Greetings Lord Baki. The 8 envoys behind him all knelt on one knee. Yuka, it's been hard on you. Baki sat high in his throne and nodded. His gaze landed on the fox-like youth beside him. You are Kuyen? Yes Lord Bachi. The fox-like young man smiled and said passionately, I'm a few generations younger than Lord Bachi, but I'm one of the geniuses nurtured by the temple. I've long since heard of Lord Bachi's name, and I've long since wanted to meet Lord Bachi. Only today can I fulfill my wish. Bachi nodded calmly. The Undying Shrine nurtured many geniuses in every batch. There were also many with World Lord strength. He, Bachi, was the number 1 genius in a trillion years. His position was comparable to an Undying. He naturally wouldn't pay too much attention to the other ordinary geniuses, let alone the fact that Yuka and Kuyen had the strength of a World Lord. However, one was a level 3 sector lord, the other a level 5 sector lord. Even the quantity had not reached the peak, so Bachi did not place too much importance on it. Where is the Blood River medal? Baki gazed down at Yuka. These are the 20 Blood River medals that God ordered me to bring. White robe Yuka flipped his hand, and 20 palm-sized engraved tablets floated above his palm. The tablets were dark red in color and there were some faint carvings on them. Whoosh. The 20 Blood River medals floated towards Baki who was sitting high in his throne. Blood God Baki snorted indifferently. With a wave of his hand he kept the 20 medals. 97. Blood God Baki ordered. Here. LuoFeng walked out and knelt on one knee replying loudly. In the throne Baki revealed a smile. You've successfully absorbed 3 Blood River crystals. Naturally you're a blood warrior. Today in front of the envoys of the Undying Shrine, I'll personally award you this Blood River medal. You have to cultivate well and don't waste your talent. I won't let you down. LuoFeng knelt on one knee, his voice powerful. Blood God Baki waved his hand and immediately a medal appeared in mid-air, floating towards LuoFeng. LuoFeng looked up at the medal. It was the size of a palm, dark red in color. The engravings on the surface made it look like an ancient palace. He immediately extended his hand to receive it and said respectfully, Thank you Lord. At the same time he let out a sigh of relief within. He had finally acquired this medal. Becoming a blood warrior and acquiring the medal would grant him 100k points. Everything is done, there's no need for me to stay here any longer. Once I return to the huge pit quarters, I'll find a chance to leave. LuoFeng thought. A cloud-level pinnacle can absorb 3 Blood River crystals? The fox-like youth Kuyan's sharp voice resounded within the palace. Congratulations Lord Baki. To be able to acquire such a genius, I believe in a few tens of thousands of years, he'll definitely become a powerful warrior. Blood God Baki replied indifferently, simultaneously changing the topic. I heard you acquired a beast god statue? I was lucky. Kuyen was elated. Your luck is not bad. In the throne Baki nodded indifferently. LuoFeng, who was standing beside the 2 captains of the Blood God Guards, was wondering what exactly this beast god statue was. Lord Baki, please take a look. Kuyen proudly and confidently stretched out a hand. Suddenly, a statue appeared out of thin air above his palm. The statue was about 30 centimeters tall, translucent and crystal clear, with a hint of gold mixed in it. The statue was a lizard-like monster, but its head was more ferocious, its 4 hooves were thicker and its single horn was piercing the sky. The entire statue emitted a terrifying energy that made one's heart palpitate. Ruthless. Like a mad roar resounded within one's ears, causing the expressions of everyone who was looking at the statue to change. What a beast god statue. Blood God Baki praised and nodded. Beast god. Wild Beast Chinyo's huge eyes were filled with a complicated gaze as he looked at the statue. The 2 captains of the Blood God Guards too revealed shocked expressions. They had heard of the legendary beast god statue before, however they had never seen it before. Blood God Baki was probably the only one who had seen the beast god statue before. This is... LuoFeng remained calm on the surface, however his heart was in turmoil. Yes. Without a doubt, this beast god statue before him was the terrifying ancient beast from the 3 ancient pictures he had seen in the Whirlpool Core. Just the aura of this beast god statue was very weak, but it made people's hearts palpitate. It was definitely stronger than either Blood God Baki or Wild Beast Chinyo. It was even more terrifying than the warriors LuoFeng had seen in Primal Chaos City. Of course, the statue's energy was very weak. This beast god statue? LuoFeng stared carefully, staring at every single scale of the statue, staring at the incomparably clear hooves and tail. How ruthless. LuoFeng could faintly see countless years ago, a huge lizard-like beast rampaged through the universe, howling and roaring, slaughtering millions. That ferocious aura completely drew in LuoFeng's golden horned beast. What his earth body saw was equivalent to what the golden horned beast saw. Howl. The golden horned beast within the internal world couldn't help but raise its head and roar, its dark golden eyes filled with desire and excitement. This is the golden horned beast's goal. This is the direction the golden horned beast is heading towards. LuoFeng was extremely excited within. After years of studying the 3 ancient pictures, along with the golden horned beast's special senses, LuoFeng's heart was burning with passion. As the saying goes, the form is secondary, the spirit is the main. Luo Feng had once seen the three ancient pictures formed by the aura. Using the tearing sky and land technique to study, he had learned a lot. After that, he charged into the core of the vortex and saw the three ancient eras pictures that were even clearer. The three ancient eras pictures were 10 times clearer than the blurry pictures formed by the aura of killing intent. The spirit was also 10 times clearer. And at this time, the beast god statue before him made Luo Feng feel like he was looking at a living ancient beast. Although it was merely a statue of the beast god, the aura of divinity and concept that the statue emitted was many times more powerful than the three ancient eras pictures. Howl howl, the golden horned beast within the internal world roared. It was roaring, almost like a cat roaring, imitating the roar of a tiger. That ancient beast was a tiger. And the golden horned beast was a weak little cat. It should be like this. Wrong, my research before was wrong. The tearing sky and land technique, compared to this ancient beast's first claw, is far from enough. Looking at the statue itself, only then did I know the correct path. Almost like a living ancient beast, the energy emitted by the statue, the special feeling it had indeed given the golden horned beast many benefits. I have to get it. This beast god statue, I have to get it. The beast god statue to the golden horned beast is like the 9-universe tablet to the human body. I wonder who carved this statue. It actually contains the true feeling of the ancient beast's attack. The golden horned beast had studied for a long time, immediately feeling that this statue wasn't any ordinary statue. LuoFeng's gaze landed on the white rogue Yuka and the fox-like youth. Those two were both sector lords. What do I do? These two are both sector lord level. I have no way of snatching it. Luo Feng was anxious within, and there's still Ba Qi and Qinyo here. They are both sector lord pinnacles. And the moment they leave, they'll definitely swiftly leave in a ship. While Luo Feng was panicking, the beast god statue, its entire body is jade gold, every inch of it is incomparably expensive. It's an extremely valuable material used by Undyings to create weapons. Blood god Ba Qi looked at the statue and sighed, almost as though he was regretful about the jade gold, regretful that it was only used to create a statue. However, these 18 statues in terms of craftsmanship, they've all reached the pinnacle. Blood god Ba Qi realized his problem and praised the craftsmanship. Lord Ba Qi, the blood river medal has been delivered, I'll return to report. Yuka bowed. Qian kept the medal too and bowed. Blood god Ba Qi nodded. Yuka and Qian immediately brought the 8 envoys behind them and left. And Luo Feng stood there, frowning. After white rogue Yuka and Qian brought the 8 envoys and left, Luo Feng too left the palace. So, Luo Feng became a green light and rushed into the sky, quickly reaching the entrance of his huge pit quarters. Undying Shrine, Beast God Statue? Luo Feng looked up at the horizon. He could see a dark purple disc-shaped ship in the sky a few thousand km away. The Beast God Statue. Luo Feng thought back to that statue. How ruthless. Looking at that statue, it was almost like looking at a living ancient beast. Through the statue's state of mind, one could vaguely feel the scene of the ancient beast unleashing its first claw. With such a state of mind, unleashing such a devastating attack was natural. This ancient beast's first claw was the universe law. Its charge was also the heaven and earth law. It was the law. Looking at the beast god statue, the golden horned beast could comprehend and understand how to train and improve. Maybe the beast god statue wasn't as mysterious as the 9-universe tablet. However, to the golden horned beast, the beast god statue was even more important than the 9-universe tablet. However, the statue was currently under the protection of 2 sector lords. Luo Feng was silent, entering his huge pit quarters. In space outside of Blood River World, Tianshi Palace. This palace in space, in terms of size, wasn't any smaller than a planet. Within one of the side halls of the first level, a group of sector lords in charge of monitoring looked shocked at the huge screen. His Majesty Luo Feng's automaton ship has entered Blood River World. His Majesty Luo Feng's ship has been in space for so many years, why has it entered now? Is he preparing to return? Everyone pay attention. The group of sector lords didn't dare relax at all. The current Luo Feng was highly regarded by the upper echelons of the virtual universe. In terms of position, he was much higher than these sector lords. Above the 15th cloud level, a dark purple disc-shaped universe ship was swiftly flying. In the 18th layer of cloud mist, the automaton race ship that was actually a silver-white pyramid was also flying swiftly. In terms of speed and performance, the ship of the automaton race Undying far surpassed the UNMO planet ship in many aspects. Not to mention the backwards technology of Blood River World's self-made ship. Automaton spaceship control room. Black-clothed Luo Feng sat on the sofa, a screen floated in front of him, on it appeared a map and a dot of light. I must get the beast god statue. It was rare for him to comprehend the 9-universe primal chaos tablet once, and it only took him 7 days each time. And this beast god statue is even more important to the golden horn beast. The black-clothed Luo Feng's eyes were sharp. In the vast universe, the strong preyed on the weak, races were born and destroyed. Everything only power. Blood River crystals and points were very important. His gains this time were huge. But the beast god statue was 100 times, 1,000 times more important than 100,000 points. I have to get it, Luo Feng thought. Master target locked on. Maintain a distance of 1.6 million kilometers from the target. The mechanical spaceship's intelligent voice sounded. Activate the first Star Destroyer cannon. Black-clothed Luo Feng said coldly. Yes. The spacecraft's AI would not disobey. A voice resounded within the control room shouting, Luo Feng, what are you doing? Why are you activating the Star Annihilator Cannon? That's a Star Annihilator Cannon, comparable to an Undying's full-powered attack. One shot can destroy a planet. The energy consumed is extremely shocking. The automaton ship's energy reserves aren't enough. This shot of yours will waste a third of the energy reserves. At the same time Babata was shouting. The AI's voice resounded within the control room. First Star Annihilator Cannon charging countdown, 60, 59, 58. There's a treasure I must get. Black-clothed Luo Feng said coldly. Damn, if there's a treasure you use the Star Annihilator Cannon to attack? The Star Annihilator Cannon was one of humanity's ultimate weapons in the universe. One shot was comparable to an Undying's full-powered attack. However, because the range was large, it couldn't be concentrated like an Undying's attack, hence it couldn't kill an Undying. However, anything below Undying would definitely be blasted to smithereens. Aren't you worried that the treasure you want will be blasted to smithereens? Black-clothed Luo Feng said coldly, that's the jade gold statue from Blood River Continent. Jade gold? Babata was shocked, after which he muttered, what a waste. The 18 beast god statues had gone through trillions of years of war. Most of them were found later on and none of them were damaged. Obviously, to damage the beast god statues was extremely difficult. Even an Undying would find it hard to do so. Even if one crushed the space within the space ring, it wouldn't be able to destroy the beast god statues. Even if an Undying was killed, the statue wouldn't be damaged at all. Undying Shrine. They had always treated the beast god statues as an important object of worship, because their origins were very special, and the meaning they represented was very terrifying. Hence the Undying Shrine placed so much importance on them. Other than the countless years of not being damaged, the Undyings really didn't find anything special about them. 30, 29, 28. The countdown within the control room resounded. About 1,600,000 kilometers away from the automaton ship, that dark purple ship was flying. Whether it was the automaton race or the human race, many times they battled in space. Battling in space, the area of battle was very wide, and the area they could lock onto was naturally very large too. Much less this ship, it was from the famed automaton race. And it was an automaton Undying ship. If their search and lock-on was discovered by this ship made by the aboriginals of Blood River Continent, then that would be too funny. Within the dark purple ship. Yuka, that Baki is really arrogant. We worked so hard to get there and he didn't even smile. The fox-like youth Ku Yen sat crossed-legged on the ground, picking up his wine cup and saying unhappily. Baki, nicknamed Blood God, back then he was famous for his madness and killing. He might be closer to his Blood God guards, but towards outsiders he's always cold. White Rogue Yuka shook his head and laughed. There's no choice, Baki is the #1 genius in a trillion years. He's arrogant because he has something to rely on, we can only accept it. The fox-like youth snorted coldly. Before, in front of Blood God Baki he was very friendly, but now there was no need to hide it. Ku Yen. White Rogue Yuka changed the topic. This time you've given the beast god statue to the Undying Shrine, the Undying Shrine's reward will definitely be huge. Haha. The fox-like youth thought of the reward and immediately laughed. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Energy storage complete. Within the control room of the silver-white pyramid, the black-clothed Luo Feng sat on the sofa, his eyes cold, roaring, fire. Silver-white pyramid, 1200 m tall. This huge silver-white pyramid, its disguise had already automatically disappeared, revealing its true form. At the top of this beautiful pyramid, a glaring ball of light appeared. The entire surface of the silver-white pyramid had large amounts of light gathered. That ball of light was getting stronger and stronger. There were even some sparks within, finally forming a ball of light with a diameter of 300 m. Following the order from the automaton ship's control room, fire. At the top of the pyramid, the ball of light immediately became a 300 m diameter pillar of light. Following the automaton ship's AI's calculated trajectory, it immediately shot out. The fox-like youth was still laughing. Yuka, don't worry this. The 300 m diameter pillar of light immediately swept through the entire dark purple ship. This dark purple ship's diameter was only about 100 m, the entire ship was enveloped by the pillar of light. Under this terrifying attack, the two sector lords within the ship, the fox-like youth and the white rogue Yuka, could only stare wide-eyed in fear, after which they turned into nothingness. And the other 8 envoys didn't even have time to react. They all turned into nothingness. The space rings and other items all shattered. The space within was immediately shattered. The shattered space caused large amounts of items to instantly turn into dust. However, the fox-like youth Ku Yan's space ring still had some items. Even under the shattered space and the pillar of light they still remained. Especially that statue of the beast god. Even after the shattered space, it was still perfectly fine, almost as though this attack to it was just a gust of wind. The beam of light instantly turned the spaceship into ashes. At the same time, a 300-meter wide hole appeared in the wilderness of the ancient god's ruins. Then, in the depths of the hole, the beam of light energy gathered and compressed, forming a final explosion. Rumble, the surrounding 10,000 kilometers immediately exploded. The center was reduced to nothingness. The surroundings, however, caused countless rocks and soil to fly everywhere. Star Annihilation Cannon. One shot was enough to destroy a planet, that wasn't a lie. deep within the huge pit within the palace. Such a strong energy ripple? Who is it? Two silhouettes, one was blood god Baki, the other was wild beast Chinyo. They swiftly rushed towards the energy ripple. Even the two captains of the blood god guards swiftly rushed into the sky, flying out of the huge pit and towards the terrifying energy ripple. What's going on? Why did the Lord go out? The blood god guards all rushed into the sky, flying out of the huge pit. Luo Feng too rushed into the sky. Baki, blood god guards. Luo Feng watched as the blood god guards swiftly flew into the distance, thinking, let's bid farewell here. As blood god Baki rushed towards the energy ripples, Luo Feng rushed into the sky, simultaneously taking off his communication bracelet and throwing it into the huge crater. His body swiftly broke through the 18 cloud levels, and when he got close to the automaton ship, he vanished into thin air and entered his internal world. A huge pit with a diameter of 10,000 kilometers. Blood god Baki and wild beast Chinyo floated in mid-air, looking down at the shockingly huge pit, shocked. There's no origin law ripple at all. Baki's face was filled with shock. This isn't an Undying's attack. It's someone from outside the sky. Chinyo's huge eyes were filled with shock too. Inform the Undying Shrine, immediately inform them. And in the space outside of Blood River World, within the automaton ship that was disguised as a meteorite, Luo Feng was lying on the sofa holding a glass of wine, looking at the beast god statue that emitted a heart-palpitating energy. He couldn't help but smile even wider, saying softly, 1/3 of the energy crystal reserves? Exchanging it for a beast god statue, it's too worth it, a small investment, a huge profit, a huge profit. Look at how proud you are. Beside, the demon Babata formed from energy laughed. How can I not be proud? Luo Feng put down his wineglass and picked up the beast god statue. He looked at the endless space before him. It was like a dream. Dust, mist and meteorites could be seen in the distance. Looking at the endless space, Luo Feng was filled with pride. He looked down at the statue in his hand. Suddenly the statue became an ancient beast roaring. This ancient beast was like an origin law itself. The golden horned beast within the internal world roared excitedly, its roar resounding throughout the entire internal world. This is my strongest trump card. LuoFeng's eyes gleamed. He stared at the statue. With this statue, I'll definitely be able to comprehend the first claw much faster. This will also allow my path on the origin laws to be smoother. I want to stand at the pinnacle of the universe, and this is the stairway to the pinnacle. My biggest gain from Blood River World this time is this beast god statue. LuoFeng's thoughts moved. Beside him appeared the Masha clansman, black-clothed Luo Feng. Black-clothed Luo Feng immediately received the statue and vanished back into the internal world. Within the internal world. How? Like a continuous black mountain range, the golden horned beast laid there. It extended its right claw that was even taller than the Himalayas. Black-clothed Luo Feng placed the statue in the palm of the golden horned beast's right claw. After which, the statue vanished and entered the golden horned beast's storage ring. The golden horned beast too was equipped with a storage ring. As it normally trained deities of the world, it would always take out universe treasures from the storage ring and eat them. The storage ring was stored in the gap between the scales on its chest. Over the generations, the golden horned beast's storage items were also stored in the gap between the scales on its chest. The main thing was that there was a region of the scales there that was more suitable for storing items. Within the automaton ship control room, Luo Feng looked at the distant space and ordered, "Depart, head to Mengna City." Mengna City? The demon Babata was shocked with his mouth wide open. Luo Feng looked at the energy silhouette Babata beside and nodded. Back then I placed Naku in Mengna City. Now that 80 years have passed. Who knew what happened to Naku? Back then I gave him some treasures. As the saying goes, treasures can tempt a person's heart. I'll go take a look before I leave. In any case, I'll have to pass by that direction to get to the Celestial Erosion Palace. Swallow Mound Territory space was the closest to Tianshi Palace. If Luo Feng wanted to return, he had to first head to Tianshi Palace. Since it was on the way, it was natural for him to visit Naku. Boom. The automaton race's flying ship sped through the void, quickly turning into a blurry stream of light. Ancient god ruins, around the huge crater created by the Star Destroyer cannon. The blood-robed Ba Chi, the mountain-like desolate beast Chinyo, and the 90 blood god guards were stationed at the edge of the pit. Boom. The sky shook. Ba Chi, the wild beast Chinyo, and the blood god guards all looked up and saw a figure appear out of thin air. It was a burly old man wearing a rock-like gray armor. His hair stood up, and when he closed his eyes, they seemed to contain endless lightning. His eyes were an endless hell of thunder. Greetings, Undying. Ba Chi bowed respectfully. God. The blood god guards all knelt down on one knee. Even the wild beast Chinyo lowered its head. The old man in the rock-like armor looked at the huge crater with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers. Boom. Rumble. His eyes were like the sun, shooting out two beams of light that pierced through the entire crater, almost as though he was trying to see through the faint red aura that permeated the entire crater. Undying. Ba Chi spoke. In this group, only his position was comparable to this Undying. However, in terms of strength, this Undying was definitely stronger. This crater? The rock-armored old man's voice was low and powerful. There's no origin law energy at all. The terrifying attack that created this crater was indeed not created by an Undying. However, in terms of power, it's definitely comparable to an Undying's full-powered attack. Only the most precious technological weapons of the outsiders can reach such a level. Looks like it really is an outsider race. Bachi nodded. The situation is very serious. The rock-armored old man frowned, saying solemnly. Because of this crater, the Undying Shrine has already conducted the highest-level discussion. According to that terrifying battle in the ancient times, we've gathered information. Even amongst the outsiders, it's not very possible for their technological weapons to match an Undying. Indeed. Even though humanity's technology level was high, a technological weapon that could threaten an Undying was something that could only be created after paying a huge price. However, that wasn't worth it at all. Only the automaton race had truly developed their technology to the limit. These years, the outsiders have frequently come to our continent. The rock-armored old man frowned. If we can capture them, we capture them. If we can kill them, we kill them. However, this is a small matter. However, this time, with such a powerful technological weapon, the outsider who infiltrated our continent must have a very high position. Bachi nodded. And according to the World Lord Quian and Yuka's universe ship, the signal came from the area it disappeared from. It was here that they met with disaster. The rock-armored old man said. Obviously the enemy used a technological weapon to destroy a ship from afar, at the same time killing Quian and Yuka. Such a level of technological attack. The two of them wouldn't be able to block it. Even you, Bachi, have less than a 10% chance of surviving. Bachi's body shuddered. Technological weapon? It was powerful to such a degree? Be careful. The rock-armored old man said. You are a genius that appears once in a trillion years in our continent. If you were killed by a technological weapon, it wouldn't be worth it. Bachi nodded, gritting his teeth as he asked unwillingly, are we just going to keep enduring like this? Not counterattack? Counterattack on what basis? The armored elder glanced at Bachi and sighed inside. Those who hadn't experienced the terrifying war of the primordial era couldn't imagine how powerful the alien races were. It was also because of many reasons that the immortal shrine was able to maintain its rule. And he was a survivor of that ancient battle. At that time he was merely a sector lord and didn't truly participate in the battle, otherwise he would have died long ago. However, regarding that ancient battle he knew many secrets. Our continent's accumulated strength is far from enough. The rock-armored old man said. For now, don't think about counterattacking, train well. Everything depends on one's strength. As for this matter, don't bother. It's rare for the outsiders to send such an important person. Our Undying Shrine won't be careless. If we capture him, we might be able to find out more secrets from him. Over a trillion years, the Undying Shrine had actually captured a few universe geniuses. Bachi nodded. So, the rock-armored old man became a bolt of lightning, flashing and disappearing into the horizon. As an Undying, that old man's speed was even faster than some universe ships created by the Undying Shrine. Lord. The two captains of the Blood God Guards came over. The others didn't hear the conversation between Bachi and the Undying. I told you to send a message to the various world lords to search for information on 97. Have you sent the message? Bachi looked at the two captains. Lord. The captain said respectfully. We've sent the message. But Lord, are we not going to personally investigate? I suspect that 97 is still in the surrounding area. There's no time to investigate. Bachi shook his head coldly. Since he betrayed me, there's no place for him on Blood River continent. A month ago, when the huge pit was blasted open, Blood God Guard 97 took the chance to sneak away. This infuriated Bachi. He had already placed enough importance on 97, who would have thought he would still be betrayed. However, Bachi didn't expect that the Blood God Guard 97 didn't even need to stay on Blood River continent. Because his true place was in the endless universe. The automaton ship disguised as a meteorite, after about 2 months of space flight, finally arrived at Mengna City. Master, we've arrived at Mengna City. The automaton ship's AI said. Sitting crossed-legged in the control room, Luo Feng, who was studying the universe origin laws, opened his eyes and revealed a smile. Little Naku, I hope you're still alive. His body sat in the automaton ship and released the Masha clansman before returning to space. Shwa. Dressed in a black robe, Luo Feng walked through the bustling streets of Mengna City. 2 months ago, I blasted the ship and took the beast god statue. It probably affected me quite a bit. For safety reasons, I left the core in my body in space. That way I'll be safe. Black-clothed Luo Feng was relaxed. Even if he met with an extreme situation, and the Masha clansman was destroyed, he would just have to spend a bit more energy to form the Masha clansman. With the core in place, the three bodies were undying. The core was Luo Feng's true core. Ahead is the Rainblade sect. Luo Feng walked along the bustling streets, holding the snacks he bought from the roadside, leisurely looking into the distance. I ordered little Naku back then before he reaches cloud level, universe level. He definitely can't leave Swallow Mound territory. He should listen. After a while, Luo Feng stood on the streets, looking at the luxurious mansion before him. There was a sign at the entrance. This is the NI mansion, don't block the entrance, move, move. Black-clothed punk scrammed to the side. The two guards at the entrance of the mansion scolded. Luo Feng's expression was ugly as he looked at the two guards. The two guards felt as though the entire world had disappeared. There was only this black-clothed youth before them. That formless pressure from the black-clothed youth almost made them collapse. Let me ask you, where's the Rainblade sect? Black-clothed Luo Feng asked coldly. The Rainblade sect, they've been destroyed a long time ago. The two guards said fearfully. At this time the streets were filled with people. One could only see the two guards talking to the black-clothed youth, but they couldn't hear what they were saying. Luo Feng squinted. About the Rainblade sect, tell me in detail. Yes. We'll speak. The two guards immediately recounted everything from the beginning to the end, including how the Rainblade clan was annihilated, and how someone took revenge for the Rainblade clan.